I've been waiting for Donald Trump to finally question whether Ted Cruz is eligible to be president of the United States. Donald Trump, one of the most well-known birthers, demanding, swearing up and down that we must see President Obama's birth certificate, the long form, not the short form, Lewis, because obviously anybody can fake a short form birth certificate. Faking the long form would be much more difficult. So I've been waiting for presidential candidate Donald Trump to ask for or question Ted Cruz's citizenship and eligibility to be president, and he finally has. Trump said in an interview with the Washington Post that Republican voters should think twice before voting for Ted Cruz because there could be challenges to his eligibility to be president, which could tie him up in court for several years. Here's a clip of Trump talking about the same thing in an interview.
What it all means, I know that other people are talking about it.
Donald Trump deflecting last night in New Hampshire. The frontrunner saying Republican rival Ted Cruz's natural-born citizenship is a question that only other people are asking.
People are worried that if he weren't born in this country, which he wasn't, he was born in Canada,
right?
And he actually had a Canadian passport along with a U.S. passport.
Trump said in an earlier interview with the Washington Post that Cruz being born in Canada could be very precarious for the GOP, asking Republican voters to think twice, saying, do we want a candidate who could be tied up in court for 2 years? That'd be a big problem. Trump hinting Democrats could take Cruz to court because the Constitution requires the president to be a natural-born citizen. The junior senator was granted citizenship by birth since his mother was an American citizen. But what constitutes natural-born for a president has never been tested in court.
And I think I'm going to let my response stick with that tweet.
So Ted Cruz held dual U.S.-Canadian citizenship. He renounced his Canadian citizenship back in May of 2014. And Trump has sort of gone back and forth on this. First, he said, oh, it could be problematic. But then last September, he said, oh, lawyers have checked it out and it's absolutely clear. I have to be very clear here. I want clarity this evening. I applaud Donald Trump because it would be hugely hypocritical to go after President Obama along birther lines and not go after Cruz among birther lines. After all, President Obama was born in the United States. I happen to believe both Ted Cruz and President Obama are eligible to be president. But a very superficial analysis tells us that Ted Cruz's situation is more questionable than President Obama's, merely along the lines of the definition of natural born. He was granted U.S. citizenship in spite of being born in another country because of the citizenship of a parent. That's slightly more complex than President Obama being born to a U.S. citizen mother in the United States. I believe both are eligible, but you've got to go after Cruz. If you ever said anything about Obama, you've got to be going after Cruz.
Well, he's kind of passive aggressively going after Cruz, right? Because he's saying, I believe Cruz is eligible. Cruz, was a U.S. citizen. But he's saying, okay, well, the Democrats might go after him. This could be a problem. He might be tied up in court.
Birther Democrats are going to cause a problem.
Yeah, birther Democrats, which, actually, I think if he were to become the president, would be fine. Let's be as immature as the Republicans were during Obama's presidency, create distractions and just make noise.
I'm going to go a step further, Lewis. Until Ted Cruz produces his mother's birth certificate, I won't believe that he's eligible. She is his only connection to America. Go Trump, make America great again. It'll be terrific. It'll be absolutely terrific.
I actually heard that she's from Pluto.
Which is not even a planet anymore. I mean, if she was from another planet, fine. Pluto is not even a planet anymore. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's certainly nothing natural born about that.
Oh, Dave, an expert told me, someone who knows.